Have you ever wondered why the Charlie Brown comic strip was called Peanuts? Today I took my daughter to the Peanuts celebration at Knott's Berry Farm, so let's talk about some of the history of the Peanuts gang. Charles Schulz, who created the Peanuts, actually hated the name. When he created the strip in 1950, he called it Lil Folks. But when United Feature Syndicate picked it up for national publication, they told him he had to change the name because there was already a comic strip called Little Folk. The name Peanuts came from the Peanuts Gallery, which was a group of children on the popular Howdy Doody show that were like a little audience, and they would refer to them as Peanuts. So the name really had nothing to do with this comic strip at all. This bothered Charles Schulz for the rest of his life, and he did try multiple times to change the title of the comic strip to Charlie Brown or Charlie Brown and the Gang. There are actually very few characters that play a significant role through the entirety of the run of this comic strip. For example, Pigpen is one of the most popular characters in the Peanuts, but he only appears in about 100 comic strips out of almost 18,000. My favorite character has always been Woodstock, who was first introduced in 1967, which is kind of fascinating because he's named after the Woodstock Festival, which didn't happen until 1969. In particular, the name was inspired by the bird on the guitar in the poster. If you're wondering how he's named after something that happened after he was introduced, he didn't have an actual stated name until 1970. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968 directly led to the introduction of the first Black Peanuts character. After the assassination, a school teacher named Harriet Glickman wrote to Charles Schulz and urged him to please introduce a Black character in order to promote racial unity. After some initial hesitation, and particularly some fears that newspapers in the South might drop the comic strip, Charles Schulz decided it was the right thing to do, and by July of that year, Franklin made his debut on the beach. And while we're talking about representation, although Charles Schulz never confirmed it, I refuse to accept any reading of the Peanuts that doesn't include Peppermint Patty and Marcy as queer representation.